Um, Hello. It's quite early morning for me, but good morning to all of you. I know it's a little bit later. Um, could you give me my first slide? Amazing. Thank you so much. I'm Phoebe. If you know the TV show Friends, I was named after a character from it. I go by Phoebe L. Hanson because there's a couple of us with the same name. It's all very confusing, but I'm Phoebe. I was in Helsinki and Espoo in June or July earlier this year, doing research on climate education, which is how I came across your school and your teachers and everything that you do there. And you invited me to come and talk about the work that I've done. If you could give me the next slide and then the next slide after that, and then the next one. Thank you so much. I'm Phoebe. I grew up in the Midlands in England, and I joined a climate youth group in 2019, which is when I was 17, when I was still at school. By 2020, I had organised a big online climate conference for young people. It was when COVID was happening, obviously, and COP26 was postponed a year because of COVID. So we decided to fill the gap of the postponed conference with a youth version where we trained young people to be the delegates. We ended up engaging over 800 young people from over 140 countries, including from Finland, which is why I ended up going to Finland when I had the opportunity to do a research fellowship. Um, and from that, we ended up being able to influence government ministers and heads of state in different countries. I got to go abroad and do a lot of really cool things, like speaking on the main stage of COP26 to ministers and heads of state. That was when, as a result of the conference, we had understood that climate education was something that young people felt incredibly passionate about. So we organised an event that brought together education ministers and climate or environment ministers in different countries, which is the first time that that had happened, so that they could make pledges together to improve climate education in their countries. So that was the introductory speech. Then on the That's the picture on the left hand side at the bottom, and then the one to the right of that is the UN chief, which was an event that we coordinated. We helped him to have his first youth council, and then brought together young people to advise the United Nations on the way that they operate and work. I then co founded, as a result of my climate education work, an initiative in the UK which is called Teach the Teacher, which works to train teachers on climate change and how it can be integrated into their teaching and the curriculum. It now works in 200 UK schools a year. It was implemented as a way because the UK had, through our event at COP26, made some pledges towards improving their climate education commitments. It was made as a way to bide time, as a way to fill a gap when they had made pledges to improve climate education, but as yet teachers weren't being prepared in a way that could allow them to deliver classes and education in the way that we would have liked. So it was a way to fill that gap and help teachers be prepared to deliver the things that they were going to be asked to deliver in the coming years. I was also invited by the US Embassy to go to the US for a summer to study climate change and disinformation. So, about the way that we report on climate change and the way that it's communicated more generally. I've met really cool celebrities and public figures and advised big charities and companies. And I've travelled to quite a few countries now, fully funded and self funded recently, a worldwide trip that I've just come back from. I'm also a little bit ill right now, so please forgive me if I sound a little bit off. I've just literally in the last couple of days gotten over the flu, so I'm a little bit under the weather, as we would say. Can I have the next slide? Thank you so much. When I was thinking about what I wanted to talk to you guys about, I was trying to think of what I would have wanted to know and what would have helped me in your position to get to the position that I'm in now, as in being able to like go around the world and to be able to do some really cool things as my job. And I think the what has gotten me to the position that I'm in now is really just being a nerd. I'm really passionate and unapologetically passionate about the things that I do. And I constantly am trying to learn new things. And I think that's the most fundamental thing that has helped me, is that I prioritize my education, both formal and informal. So both within school and getting good grades and trying to get through to university and doing well in university, but also the more informal things. I joined a lot of clubs. I joined climate groups where I learned a lot about what climate change that I was learning about in class, how that then worked into policy and into practice and what that meant for my life. I also then watched free lectures, I listened to podcasts, and constantly sought out those new perspectives, and also try to learn skills as well. So languages, although not Finnish, I apologize, and coding, as well as soft skills like leadership or public speaking or just that general confidence that can really help you. My voice is now going. And I stay curious and open and never assume that I know best in any situation. And that has really helped to be able to continuously learn. Next slide before I have a coughing fit. Thank you. I'm also very much not complacent. So I joined LinkedIn in the school, which is, I normally describe it as like Facebook or Instagram, but for really boring old people. It's like a professional version of social media, and it allows you to connect with people that work in a sector that you are in. So before I was joining a particular sector, I was like, what I could do is find people that are doing what I want to do, and even if I didn't want to actively reach out to them, just look at their profile and what they did when they were my age, or just their posts and the way that they approach things, and try to learn about the sector that I want to join. So I did that. I spent a lot of time observing, but also I then asked for their advice. I would message people, connect with people, add them in my group, and took an interest in what they were saying, made some good allies. And I started posting myself. I was very loud about what I was already doing, and I posted often, which allowed me to be in the minds of people more frequently. A lot of the opportunities that I've gotten, so the opportunities that I mentioned earlier, like going to the US with the embassy, or even starting my own initiative, all came from the connections that I've made. A lot of the opportunities that I've had, although I've had to interview for them, or I had to go through those formal processes of application, I also got a lot of them because I knew people that had worked in that area or knew people that were hiring, and then could find out about things that were a little bit more hidden, or find out about what they wanted from the people that they were hiring for, so I could tailor my application to a particular thing. And that has really helped me to be able to get some really cool opportunities, and I think is something that's very often missed. I looked, like I say, at what people I admired were doing when they were my age and tried to replicate some of it. Next slide, please. I also, I would call it vertical and horizontal. I networked a lot with people that were doing what I wanted to do, but in a couple of years' time, in 10 years' time even, but also people that were my age or were at university while I was at school, who were probably within 5 years of me. I joined groups. I reached out to individual people who were doing work I admire at my level, at my age, and tried to learn from them and what they were doing and what opportunities they were benefiting from, if there were particular programs or podcasts that they were listening to or lectures that they were benefiting from. I've gained some really cool friends, some of my closest friends, and they've helped me to get so many amazing opportunities. And I think what is often missed in the workplace is that the people sitting beside you are going to be people that are doing some really cool things in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, and hopefully they will be people that could hire you or that you could work with, or some connections that can help you in the future. And that was something I tried to develop when I was young, and something that then helped me to be able to start my own initiative, to be able to get media coverage or social media coverage, because I knew people in lots of different countries. They could help me translate things, they could help me to understand political situations in their countries, or they could help me to understand how to do something that I hadn't yet come across. And that really, really benefited me. Probably a lot more than anything else is having those people that I could rely upon that were near to me. Next slide, please. But most importantly, I think I'm resilient. When I was in sixth form, which is what we call like 16 to 18 education in the UK, ages 16 to 18, I applied to loads of summer schools and programs. I realised basically that I could get a lot of summer schools and programs, and they would fund me to be able to go to different places in the country. And I was like, well, that's very exciting. I could take a train by myself and go somewhere in the country for free. So I applied for loads of them, got rejected from loads of them, over 3/4 of them I worked out later, but I kept going. I had some of the most amazing experiences, met some of my now best friends, got to see loads of really cool places. I went to Scotland for the first time, which was very exciting for me, also to Wales and lots of different places, and met some really, really cool people that really helped me later on, because it inspired me and kept me going when things were tough. It allowed me to stay resilient. Next slide. And even now, I've just come back from my worldwide trip. I've now been rejected from a lot of different work opportunities, but I've also gotten onto so many things that are now helping me in my life. It's I think one of the best skills that I've developed over the last couple of years is resilience, and that's something that I started in school. Being rejected so many times is something that will probably happen to all of us, especially in the current economy and system. A lot of the people that I spoke to in Finland are having similar issues. That there are not very many jobs and lots of people that are really passionate and applying to them. But I think what has given me an advantage is that I have enough of an identity within myself, and enough of a resilience that I can carry on going even when there are lots of obstacles in my way. Next slide, please. Oh. I'm also bold. The worst thing that they can say is no, and you never know what opportunities that you could miss out on. The best advice that I ever received was to seek discomfort, to seek expansion, because that's where you learn who you are at your core. And as soon as you know that, you can start to build on it. And that's probably the advice that I would give to you: is net zero a day, and lots of other things that you're doing on climate change. That's a fundamental challenge that you have to overcome, and to be bold in that challenge, to seek discomfort in being able to overcome those challenges is something very, very important. Thank you very much. I know I'm my brain is a little bit ill right now, but thank you very much for having me. Yeah, thank you.